So a while ago, I picked up this 1997 ACURA CL. I paid $500 for it, but it was basically free because I traded a set of wheels that I had gotten for free for another item and then sold that item to get the money to get this car. So basically a free ACURA CL. It does have a problem with the idle air control valve. It's kind of just bouncing a little bit. You hear the throttle just revving itself for no reason. Common problem for Acuras, especially just like Hondas in general. But we're going to take care of that as soon as we take care of this problem. To get the car started right now, I've had to jump start it every time, and that's been a pain in the ass. So I found a free battery on Facebook Marketplace. Huge thanks to Joanne. I'm now going to put that battery in the car. That should solve one of the problems. And then the last problem is that when we pulled the car out from the mud, when we had our big storm back here a couple weeks ago, we seem to have tugged through the line that connects the transmission to the bottom of the block. And I think that we ripped the oil line. It should be an easy fix. It's like a $20 hose. I'm hoping that's all the damage that we did. But I have it up on these wheels right now, just kind of jacked up in the air, so that I can get underneath the car and confirm that that is the only issue stopping the car from being roadworthy. So we're going to take care of these problems right now. Let's get into it. And then after we do all this, I'm going to roll the car into the garage and prep it because I want to paint this thing. It's actually a pretty decent car. So if I don't sell it, I don't want to roll around with this janky looking paint job. When I have some springs for it and I have a can of paint, we can give it a nice paint job and then just lower it and have a nice little daily. So let's see what we do with this thing, but we'll get started right now with the battery. So we're going to start by removing the battery terminal connections right here. Apparently they weren't even bolted on well, but I know it's not the problem because the car did turn over a little bit and it does start when you connect to them. So let's get this out of here and let's hope that the next battery fits. That thing's dead. All right. We had some mice that got inside underneath the hood while this thing was sitting, so I'm gonna clean this out real quick. That's disgusting. So we're gonna pull this out right now. Just empty this crap out. But that needs to be cleaned before it goes back in. Eventually we'll hose this down as well. Wish I had a leaf blower down here so I could just blow this all out, but bang that out. And we could drop this back in the car, which I believe goes this way. Look at that, we got a perfect fit. Okay, so the battery itself is the perfect size. It fits the box perfectly. However, the terminals are backwards. If you turn the battery around, then the terminals wind up too far away from the actual wires. So I am going the shortcut route, which this one was able to cross from the other side over and fit perfectly. So I'm just gonna cross this one over and it also fits perfectly. So let's just give this a tap on. And then we'll tighten it down so it doesn't come back off, even though I really don't think it's going to come off as it sits right now. And we're good. Neither of the wires touch. And we can throw this cap back on as well. All right, so we have the new battery hooked up. Wouldn't necessarily call it a new battery. It's an old battery, but it's new to me and new to this car. And it should get the car running, so let's see how this goes. We should be good to go. All right, so hopefully the car starts and I won't have to jump it anymore. It's been the main thing. I've had to jump this car every time I started it. I know the alternator is good because once it's on, it stays on. So hopefully this new battery does the job. Oh, we're good. There goes that little idle air control valve problem where you get the RPM jump. But as I said, common Honda problem. This will be easy to fix, and we'll have this car back on the road within the next 2-3 days. Time to figure out where the oil is leaking from. Woo! One by one, I'm getting these cars back on the road. So, good deal. So right now I'm going to try and find where the oil leak in the car is coming from. And in order to do that, we have to get underneath the car. It is filthy under here. So under the car, we have a few spots that we need to remove bolts and little clip-in pieces to get the front of the bumper to come down. And then we're going to remove this tray. But in the meantime, I think I may have just solved the problem, and it may be right here. So I'm going to try and screw this piece back in, and hopefully that will stop the leak. And if it doesn't, then we have a bigger problem on our hands, and we'll go from there. So we're about to start removing some bolts from the bottom of the bumper and hopefully get a little easier access to where we need to be. Fire one out. This is a tray that we need to pull out right here. So we're going to go to this back one behind it. Alright, I think we got two more. Alright, we've got one side down. With our light on, I can see right now, this appears to be where the oil was leaking from. So I'm going to loosen this bolt up, screw this one in a little further, and then tighten that back up, and we should be good. Right now, we're going to tighten this back up. And I think that we should be good once this is fully tightened. I don't think they'll have any more leaking. I don't feel like any of this is broken. So I think it was just that this was a little bit loose. And we're going to test that theory right now. And we will then start the car up and see if we have any more leaking. All right, I'm thinking that we should be good. Okay, so I think that I resolved the oil leaking issue. We're about to start the car now and test my theory. I think it was just that that one piece was a little bit loose. I think that it may have just gotten pulled, and when we were pulling the car out, something may have caught it and just loosened it up a little bit. But I think that was it. Hopefully, that was it. I do have oil all over the place. I'm going to get a rag before I go and get inside the car. But let's get myself cleaned up, and then we'll fire this car up, and hopefully that's the end of the oil leak. So aside from the slight throttle hop from the idle air control valve, everything else in the car seems to be good now. I'm going to throw a little bit more oil in it, but we don't seem to be leaking any out of the bottom. That's a very good sign. I'm pretty sure that it was just that piece that needed to be tightened, and I think we're good to go. So as you can see right here, the tires are completely shot. The rear tires are good. From what I was told, they are newer. They do look newer, and they're holding air perfectly. So I'm just worried about replacing the front ones for now. I do have extra tires in case the rears do blow, but for now, I'm just worried about getting this thing on the road, so the fronts will do. I'm going to take the tires off of my Borbit wheels from the BMW, for the old BMW, and put them onto here. That thing's shot. We've hit our first problem with this car. There's a lock on this wheel, and it is unlike any lock that I have for a wheel. Okay, so with the lock being round, it's creating a little bit of an issue getting it off since we have nothing to grip onto. However, we have a solution. We're going to take a torque head right now and kind of just smash it on there and into place. And it should knock itself good enough where it'll have something to grab onto. And hopefully, we'll be able to spin this bolt off. So, yeah, it's really on there, so we should be good to turn this thing. See how this goes. Did we get it? Oh, we got it. We got it. Woohoo! That is the sound of pure joy right now because this bolt is coming off. Oh, man. That makes me so happy. I've decided that I am going to spray the calipers. I'm going to go with a nice yellow right now. We're going to use iron lac for this. This is just an extra can that I had left over from a mural that I recently painted. And I think that the yellow will go good with the color that I'm going to be spraying the car next week. I already did the bulk of it, but I am just going to hit this one more time, get whatever dust we can get off of these. Doesn't have to be perfect. This is just a minor thing. It's more so for my own entertainment. I like to add color where I can, and I paint the calipers on every car. It's just one of those things. I'm one of those guys. It is. So right here, we're going to do the yellow, but first we're going to tape this off correctly. Slide this on in. I'm gonna get it around the hoses as well and tuck into as many spots as possible. All right, so we have the brake pads taped up, the little tabs taped up, we got the little rubber washers and the inserts taped up. And this little plug right here is also taped up. We're going with the Akasic yellow iron lac color. Try and get inside all the little cracks and crevices back here. Now finishing the second coat. Let's pull this bag off. That'll be the first thing we do. Much better. We're about to go up. We'll get the wheels put on and hopefully this thing will be good. Then we just have to worry about the idle air control valve. That should be the last thing on the list before we get it into the booth and get it ready for paint. And by booth, I mean my makeshift paint booth that I'm making in my garage. So stay tuned, guys. If you haven't done it already, hit that like button, subscribe, and yeah, we'll be back with more in a little bit. All right, so I'm officially back from the tire shop. Huge thanks to Julio and his father. You guys helped me out big time. We actually broke their tire machine while getting these tires put on, but we were able to do it. It was successful. We had to manhandle them and do it the old school way, pop them on by hand, but we made it work. So we got the first wheel back on the car. We're looking good. We're about to throw this wheel back on, and then we'll be able to roll this thing up front, and I'll be able to... So luckily, I had these wheels on a set of Borbits that I had. Brand new tires. These were free. Big help. We gotta clean these up as well. I'm gonna respray the center caps, get those popped back in. But we're going smoothly now. All right, so we now have the wheels on the car. We're gonna take the car up front. I'm gonna tighten the wheels, find another lug so we can get that fourth one on. Close this up. And then we'll start addressing some body issues. But before we do that, we're gonna spray the car down, get her nice and clean, get all the grime off, and we'll take it from there. So let's get into it. So as you can see, these wheels have a ton of crud on them. Aside from the crud, there just looks like brake dust, and it looks like they're starting to get some pitting. So we're gonna take care of that right now, and we're gonna get that gone. Take a wire wheel to it, and we should be good. That's way better. This little brake dust buildup and crud that's there was terrible. We had a little pitting starting to happen on top. That's all gone now as well. So we'll just continue to do this. It's looking way better. Got that nice polish. You'd see the shine, see the reflection. Getting through all this crap right here. We're doing really good on this. So I'm gonna keep this going. I'm not gonna bore you guys with more of this. There's gonna be another hour of this at least. So I'll see you in a few. All right, so I'm out here again, have my little sanding block. We're about to remove some of the clear coat that's peeling off of the car, and then basically just go over the whole car, try and get it as flush as possible. And then we're gonna hit it with a new paint job. So you can see what I'm doing up close. I'm basically trying to get all of the clear coat off that was peeling and then get it down to a nice flush surface so that we can hit it with a smaller, lighter grit and have it good to paint right over. This is all flaking off. This whole piece is flaked off. Did a little bit of this back here. And then we have the trunk, the roof, the whole car, and a couple spots that we're gonna have to patch with some Bondo. Not a problem. Like right up here. So other than that, great car. All right. We're nice and flush now. That's good. So we're just about done getting this nice and flush. Anywhere that the paint was peeling, I sanded it down, got it nice and flush. This is one of the most important parts of the paint job because if you don't have it flush, any paint that goes over it, you're gonna notice the little dips and bevels in it. So we're just about good. In the spots that we didn't hit with the sander, we're just gonna lightly scuff over so that it gives us a little bit more grip when we spray the paint over the car. If you spray directly over the clear coat, it's just gonna chip. So we don't want that to happen. We want this paint to last as long as possible. All right, time to spray the car down, get all the excess crap off. Then we'll wipe it all down, get it nice and dry, and hopefully everything will be good to go. All right, so we have the outside of the car hosed down. Everything's looking good. We're about to work our way over here and spray down the engine bay. Just like you saw earlier, we had some mice living in here, so they had nesting kind of packed in everywhere, along with what would normally fall and get trapped in here to begin with. So we're gonna hose this all out and get it looking nice and clean again. A nice clean engine bay now. No more crud or debris. We're looking good. That 3.0 VTEC 6-cylinder in there. Can be a fun car. I just got to find a manual swap for it. We'll see what happens. If I decide to keep it, I will swap it into a manual. But if I don't keep it, I'm just going to sell it, make it look good, put it on some coils, drop it, cruise it for a little bit, and pass it to the next person. But they will be getting a lot better car than what I got, because this is getting a ton of upgrades throughout the process. Over the next month, I'm saying it'll have a bunch of upgrades. These cars are so cheap, which is one of my favorite reasons I love building Acuras and Hondas, is that you can get a really cool build, or just a quick build that, like, it's kind of like a Lego set. You just pop it all together, you have your fun with it, and then you just kind of pass it along to someone else, you know? So all right, so we're officially wrapped up for today. We have the oil line connected again. We have the new battery in. We have the car buffed. It's getting ready for paint. We have a ton of things fixed and a lot more to come. We need to do the idle air control valve, and let me see. Actually, I think the idle air control valve is all we need. Oh yeah, I have the switch coming as well for the windshield wiper blades, because apparently that was snapped in half. So that will be getting replaced as well. If you haven't done it already, hit that like button, subscribe, stay tuned for more. Peace out. I'll see you in the next one.